Welcome to another video right here on FE Builds. We're going to be doing a quick change out. This is the RGT, the latest RGT that I've seen. It's the Land Commander, aka the Land Cruiser RC, and we're going to be changing from brushed to brushless. We're going to get rid of this 1060 ESC, and we're going to put in none other than the new Fusion Pro Elite. Once again, thank you to Sean from RC633 for making it possible for us to get our hands on this. I must mention that this video is not sponsored. We did pay for everything we got, so it's very important that I put that out there. And these builds that I'm doing them really from the interest in the hobby and the love to build things. So I'm going to do a quick swap out. I've swapped so many ESCs to the Fusion Pro and so many brushed systems to brushless, and I like the Fusion Pro because it's so much better in terms of control. One issue we had with this setup in the test video that just went up in part 2 is when going up and downhill, you don't have that much control. When you hit an obstacle, you try and put a bit of throttle just to get over it, and it puts too much and it jumps over. When you're going downhill, you just put a bit of throttle because you want to go slowly, but then it just sends it. So the drag brake and the various different things involved in the whole system are not as good as the Fusion Pro, and there's a reason why people change these out for Fusion Pros. So the first thing I'm going to do is just loosen this motor without damaging any of the wires. We're going to leave the ESC in there quickly, and let's see what we're dealing with. Hopefully it's one of those quick fixes where all you need to do is pop this cover off, take out the motor, and it's already got a preset plate. Okay, so the first part is done. We've taken off this section over here, and it looks like we've got one of these very nice things. So all we need to do is put the Fusion Pro on this plate over here and swap this onto the Fusion Pro. I left my knife in the Jeep, so I'm just going to use my nail and do this African style because I want to do this as soon as possible. We're already on 4 minutes. Let's try and do this under 20 minutes. That's the install, that is. I might have to cut here and there to make it short, because I know nowadays people have a very short attention span. I'm not saying that's you, but a lot of people out there don't want to sit for hours watching a boring video like this. But I'm recording it in this way so that you can see what I've done, because many times when I record videos like this, people come back and they ask, how did you do this, how did you do that? So I'm showing you pretty much what needs to be done, and hopefully this helps. The new connector is XD60, so we're moving away from Dean's, but then because all my batteries are the old type, especially this big one over here that lasts a million years on the trail, we're going to use this whenever I want to use those batteries. Now here's the difference with the Fusion Pro and Fusion Pro Elite. The Fusion Pro would be the same length as that. The Elite is 48.5 centimeters. So if I just bring that close to the camera, that's a 540 motor. That's a 48.5 millimeter long motor, which is very nice because I noticed that the motor was coming very close to the servo, and the servo goes up and down with the shocks because it's a servo on axle. So this will give it a lot more space, and it's going to be lighter in terms of the top heaviness, because this back section over here is already quite heavy. So let's get this done. Let's swap this over. Remember, this piece is plastic, but the motor is metal, so you can tighten it, but I wouldn't suggest tightening it so tight. Now, one piece that's so important, and many people mess this up. See that grub screw? Sometimes they put Loctite in it. I'm just going to try gently, and no, we're going to strip it if we just keep going. So I'm going to do something that a lot of people do. I've got a lighter here. I'm going to just heat this up. I can't heat it up under the camera because I'll damage the camera, so I'm just going to do that quickly. Okay, great. That's nice and hot. You can see the oil is boiling over there. And now the scrub screw will break loose easily. And there we go. So I've oriented this thing perfectly. So actually just go on. But what I want to do is position it perfectly so that it's not too far out, not too far in, before I tighten it down. There we go. So you can actually feel it's got a groove that it sits on, and that right there feels like we are on the money. So tighten that grub screw, but not too tight, and we're ready to close this back. So the first part of the job is complete. That's sitting nicely on the spur gear. And as you can see, there's a groove over there. Just goes over. This piece is sitting on nice and tight. And now we've got at least 20 millimeters clearance from the servo and the motor, whereas prior to this there was like maybe 3 mil clearance. So it's safe to say that the wires are never going to rub or chafe as that servo goes up and down with the axle when driving over rough terrain. Feels so weird seeing such a short Fusion Pro, but this is 2 to 4S, so I'm quite excited about that. Okay, and this is plastic on plastic, so you don't want to tighten it too tight. I have a tendency of stripping bolts, so what I tend to do when it comes to plastic on plastic is I just use my finger strength, and that's enough. I don't hold it, I don't grip the spanner because I don't want to break it. Okay, so that's done. Fusion Pro is in. Now let's get this other one out, and we're gonna have to take off this whole assembly over here. Hopefully it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Okay, looks like that screw is off. That one also looks like it's off. Let's just lift it and see what happens. The receiver is upside down over here, and we're not going to pull that out, but what we're going to pull out is the ESC, because we don't need that anymore. We've now got a Fusion Pro in there, so we're just going to take this out. There's the switch, and there's the wire. So we need to take note of where that wire came out of, and then we'll look for channel 10 to put in the extra wire. Okay, that came out of there. There's the old ESC. We're done with that. Now it's very important that we sort this out properly. I believe this should go back there and under there so that it can go through with those. Another option is we can go around like this and go there. I just don't know if it's long enough. Might as well use this to the fullest. Okay. See if we got that in. So just a quick tip for anyone who wants to do what I'm doing. Go through the hole where the ESC heatsink sat. It'll save you a few minutes. And it also does help to have a torch, but I've got enough light over here. So channel 10 is my aux channel. Now everything else will get stuffed in there neatly. As you can see, I'm gonna stuff it back how we found it, and then put the screws back. Okay, that is sorted. Last screw to go in, and that will also be sorted. And I think what we need over here is a short antenna, just to protect it. Okay. That seems sorted. And that seems sorted. Now for the sake of waterproofing the system, we're not going to go through puddles that are going to splash in here, but that small hole where the switch was, I'm just going to stick a piece of tape over there or glue just to close it off and prevent water from flooding in there and flooding the receiver. But we're not done just yet. Let's do something quickly. We need to connect the battery in, and what we're going to do now is just a quick calibration of the remote. I'm going to press and hold this until it's flashing. There we go. We set the neutral position. Set full accelerator. Then full reverse. Okay, so now let's see which way is it going. It's driving in the right direction. Gears are still working. Switches into 4-wheel drive. And it's working quite well. See if the lights are working. Okay. Now what we're going to do is turn this off. Turn this off. Take the body out. And just like that, we've calibrated it. Okay, so the aux channel, the yellow wire, can be set for the drag brake force. It can be set for the drag brake rate. It can be set for the max reverse force. It can be set for the max brake force. So we're gonna leave it on item number 7. But let's just quickly log into the system and see what it's doing, because when I release the throttle, I don't want it to brake immediately. I want it to sort of coast and slow down. Otherwise you have situations like we had today where the car just comes to an abrupt halt. There we go, we're connected. Running mode, forward and reverse, RPM matching. This new motor has 2 extra options. There's hybrid RPM matching, hybrid normal. Okay, we're gonna leave it RPM matching, which is option 1. Number 2, auto, so it can take 2S. The Fusion Pro Elite can take 2S, 3S and 4S. Don't go over that. We're leaving it on auto, so whatever battery I put in there, it's not gonna affect it. Number 3, the cutoff voltage, medium, very good. Number 4, thermal protection. We're setting it at the lower temperature, very good, so when it hits that temperature, it's gonna cut off. The motor rotation seems to be right. It's going in the right direction. The BEC voltage, we'll leave it at 6 volts because I assume that's what the 1060 is putting out for all the servos and everything. Drag brake force, let's change that to option 7. Okay. Number 8, auto, drag brake rate. I don't want the drag brake to kick in too strongly, so I'm going to put that on option 4. Okay. Number 9, max reverse force. We don't want this thing to shoot back and go crazy in reverse, so I always set it on 25%. Number 10, max brake force 60%, that's fine. We're using drag brake anyway, so. Number 11, RPM decrease rate, which is very good. Number 1, we'll leave that at number 1. Number 12, the punch. I don't know how strong this new Fusion Pro motor is, and I don't want to damage the gears, so I'm actually going to reduce this to level 4, which is option 4. We don't need so much punch on a trail rig, I think. Number 13 is the neutral range. We'll leave it as is. Number 14, item 7. Yeah, we'll leave that as the drag brake rate. Yeah, so we can set that on the go. And that should be good. We go back to option 1. But now we are done. And never lose this piece. Okay, and we'll stick that on one side of the button. Yeah, I think I'm going to put it here. It's a nice position. Okay, so when the remote's not connected to the system, it's gonna beep like that. So now it's connected. Indicators are working nicely. Lights are working nicely. the back when I press reverse. Reverse seems to work nicely. Okay, the reverse slide is working. Let's see how slow we can go over. I'm putting my hand here. Putting my hand here and seeing if it's going to climb over. So I've got my arm here. See if we can climb over slowly. This is what I like about the Fusion Pro. It's actually controlling it. It's not just going to shoot forward and shoot off. It's controlling its ascent and descent. Okay, and to wrap up this video, we are simply just putting cable ties. And what I like to do to keep the wires out of the way, or out of harm's way, I think we've cable tied them all together. So the best thing we can do over here, and actually get these two together. Okay, that's good. And last but not least, let's cut. I'm going to cut this without cutting any wires. Let's cut. And that's a wrap for this video. Thank you for watching. Until next time, cheers.